Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Jessica Jones, Season 2, Episode 4. It's called AKA God Help the Hobo. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, we, we did have hobos, we did have wigs, and we had Hogarth letting crippled people fall in the street and not help them. As she has a dramatic moment as this cheesy piano music comes in, because she's like, I'm going to be like her. I'm going to be helpless. I'm going to need help. No.
Yeah, this is the first episode I found that really dragged for me as a whole episode rather than just individual plots.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, clearly I'm not feeling the Hogarth stuff still.
No,
And
no.
as you were saying last time, oh, well, now Jessica's involved. Well, Jessica isn't involved. I mean, Hogarth phones her for an update at one point, but we don't actually see Jessica do anything for her. We just, this is some stuff she's done off camera. With some stuff.
Yeah, I was clearly being optimist. I stand by my opinion when it was made.
Right now, despite the fact that Jessica's technically involved, it still feels a million miles away from everything else that's going on.
It
Almost to the
does.
point where the scene where she calls her, it almost plays like, yeah, I've not had time to look into your shit because I've been dealing with the actual main plot so far.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how it plays, but hey. And she wants like new experimental drugs because she's like, so how? Realistically, when's the cure for this thing coming? It's like, oh, at least a couple of years. Could be decades. It's like, well, I've got 8 years, so get on it. Where's my cure?
Yep.
So hey, that's a whole thing. But so she's looking up, exotic illegal drugs that she might be able to take to maybe do something for her. She's not giving up, and that's a whole thing. And Cheng's going with someone else because she's not doing her job for him. She's dropping the lawsuit against Jessica because she's got this weird relationship with Jessica. So Cheng's looking into other avenues. Who's been very sketchy. He's trying to basically steal Malcolm from her. He shows us like, hey, you try to better yourself. You try to be a good PI. You try to learn things. I could use a man like you. And it's very two-faced. It's very clear that he's just trying to ruin things for Jessica. It's not that he
Oh,
actually wants Malcolm in any way. And Malcolm sees through it. He tells him to piss off as he should.
I do appreciate at least there was no. Oh, maybe I should go with Cheng.
No, there wasn't. It was just basically it just motivates him to actually stand up to Jessica and say, "Hey, look, I am being useful. I want you to start actually training me, and I actually want a guaranteed 25% of each."
This is like when you've got to renew your car insurance, and you go and get a quote from someone else, and be like, "Look,
Uh,
I can get it cheaper than you. What are you gonna do?"
which really makes me wonder what the rate was for him before now. Like, what was she paying him like on a regular basis for what he was doing?
It doesn't sound like anything.
No, she was paying him something because he was still paying for rent and stuff. So there was definitely, you know,
I mean, yeah,
and why would she even threaten firing him if it didn't mean anything if he wasn't getting paid? So I think he was getting paid
sure.
something, but now it's like no, I want 25% of every case that
I
happens.
wonder if he was getting a flat fee of like rather than now this is percentage
Yeah,
of the earnings. It's a bit
yeah.
different, isn't it?
Well, she does haggle him because he's expecting a fight, and she just kind of like, okay, 20%. It's like, all right, done. I thought I was going to have to fight more. Fine, that's fine. 20,
Yeah.
20 is good. So yeah, it was a nice feel good moment for Malcolm. He immediately just screws up afterwards though by not forgetting or not remembering the name of the girl that he's been seeing because we saw her last episode on the phone and we see her again here and he gets the name wrong. Although he seemed to be doing fine because he has another girl by the end of the episode.
Yeah. Dude has no problem clearly.
No, clearly not. So that was basically Malcolm's whole thing. The other obviously plot line that we've not been super fond of this season has been Oscar and his kid. And what's funny is at the start of the episode when Malcolm's coming into the building and he runs into this woman, I'm like, I bet that's the kid's mother. I bet that's Oscar's, ex.
Mm.
And sure enough, it turns out to be because the kid ends up coming into Jessica's place and he's like, "You saw my room, can I see yours?" And I'm like, "If you weren't so young, that would sound really creepy, kid."
Yep.
When Jessica's not looking, he's like jumping out the window. He's like, "Hey, you're a superhero. You gonna catch me?" He's like, "Pay attention to her power set. She didn't fly."
I know. Stop. I mean, I guess you could dive after him, catch him,
Oh yeah,
midair.
and take the brunt of the fall for him, sure, but still.
Yeah. But I mean, stop pushing your luck, kid.
Stop pushing your luck. And then, of course, Oscar and the ex are like blaming her for being a crazy psychopath. And I'm like, this ain't her fault. This ain't on her. She
No.
just ran in.
Kid came in, jumped into the window, slipped because he's a prick, and she saved his life.
Yes. Which, to be fair, he does acknowledge later. Which, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, I'm glad he realised that because that's exactly what he should be thinking. On the other hand, did it not feel really weird to you that it just wraps up the entire plot? Because he immediately just goes, "You saved my kid's life. Everything's forgiven. I'm tearing up the eviction. That's not a plot element anymore. And
Yeah,
here's some booze."
yeah. This was super weird. I was like, okay. I was expecting him to come to his senses about the moment and be like, hey, all right, sorry about that. That was too far. But you're still getting evicted. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
no, see,
that's really what I was expecting
well,
from this moment.
but here's the thing. It makes sense to me that this would convince him that maybe he's been, thinking the wrong way about her. It felt really abrupt to me. It just felt really clunky that, oh, that entire, I mean, admittedly, I wasn't happy we were getting any of that plot, so in a weird way, I'm happy that they're just kind of quickly brushing it under the rug. That said, I'm a little concerned as to where it's going now, because as soon as, like, she's like, oh, come in, drink with me, I'm like, are we going to have some weird relationship with them now? Like, is that where we're going with this?
I
'Cause I'm
know.
not
I'm
feeling
like,
it.
I don't want this.
He's not interesting as a character. And I feel like his
He
purpose
doesn't
here,
have a character yet. He has been. I don't like you. Oh, I like you now.
yeah, sure. I feel like his entire inclusion is purely the later in the season, him and his kid will be under threat. Like the villain's going to have them, or she'll be a danger to them, and that'll be why they've been set up like this all season, is so that we actually maybe care about them come that time. The problem is that it's so transparent that it feels like there's no purpose for them other than that. So everything to build them before then is falling flat because it's like, no, this is just so we care about them later. And sure, you can look at any like movie or show and say, oh, this character's just there so we'll have stakes when villains doing something later. But there's a way to do it so they feel like real people who are there and we care about them because we like them by the time we
Also,
get there.
it's less intrusive in a 2 hour movie because you kind of forgive it. There's only so many characters you can set up
Oh sure,
in
yeah.
a movie, in that sort of time. So you kind of forgive it there a bit more. In a TV show, the character has to exist in their own right before they can be used as stakes.
Pretty much, yeah, as stakes, because it's this balancing act. Because I think at the same time, I don't want to see Hogarth unless it's to do with Jessica. I don't want them to try and do her plot because it's just really clunky and poor when they're doing it. It feels extraneous. Uh,
When I say exist in their own right, I don't mean have their own plot. They just have to be a character I like.
oh sure, okay, but the thing here is that it's very clear that's what they're doing with him and his son. There's nothing else to it. Everything about it is felt like this tacked on melodrama. So all I could think was this is weird that it's been brushed under the rug so quickly. But then maybe I'm happy about that. But then no, I'm not really because now we're going down this weird
Yeah, no, at least I'd
romance.
made peace with what it was, and I was like, okay, that's it for at least 2/3 of the season.
Oh no.
But that's what I was expecting from this plot, like half to 2/3. And I was like, okay, I don't like it, but I've made peace with this one. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm concerned as to what's next from this guy.
I feel like the moment plays weird as well because the whole thing is that from his perspective, even if he's told later on what actually happened, it does feel this really abrupt thing where he was on the window in her house and then she did save him, but I feel like if you wanted this moment where she saves him and that makes him maybe have a different like opinion, like that changes his mind, maybe I should reconsider how I feel about her. It should have maybe been more obvious and like a sort of like he sees that he's in trouble and she saves him, and it's more
Yeah, I would go as far as to say as well, it can't be just the kid's own stupidity that put. I mean, if she doesn't have powers and isn't there in the first place, the kid's not on that window trying to show off.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's only on the window because she has powers and he's trying to be like, hey, you're a superhero, do
If
something.
anything, it kind of reinforces the dad's point of, hey, my kid's in danger because you've got powers. Well, I mean, for this point, the kid's at fault, but
In a weird roundabout way, it enforces that. Yeah, even though that's
yeah,
not exactly what he meant. Is that his kid's going to try and impress her?
no. But I feel like if it was, if even if it was just a car came around the corner and she, jumped in front and got the kid from the car,
Yeah.
at least there you go, okay, sure the kid could have, seen the car coming, but it's less the kid's own fault of
No,
actively putting itself in harm.
yeah, I mean that's the kid being accidental, but it's not accidental out of stupidity. Anyone can not see a car coming.
Right.
Actively jumping up onto a window frame and putting yourself in danger is just pure stupidity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the thing. So getting on to stuff that I do like the opening scene with Jessica and the support group. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
all sharing why they've got anger problems, and they're bouncing the ball off the wall. And I could get obviously you can see where it was going. She's going to eventually bounce the ball, and she's going to put it through the wall because she's got super strength. And because they're like, oh, nothing you'll say will shock us. We've all had these shocking stories, and we're hearing various things. Like, one was beating his wife for 15 years, one was doing this, one was doing that, and she's like, well, okay, so I was raped and forced to murder someone, and then everyone's just like, okay, this is a bit more extreme than we were expecting. And then she keeps going, and it's like, oh, and now I'm wanted for this and this and that, and so it played out, and obviously it's really setting up what the theme of this season is. It's anger, depression, and addiction. I feel like are what this season's about. Kind of in the same way the last season was about self control in a lot of ways. This one's clearly setting up its themes. So I thought that was a well done scene, and I thought I'm still liking Trish and Jessica working as a pair. I'm liking that she's kind of like forcing herself to be the sidekick, even though Jessica doesn't want one. And there's some funny moments that come from that where she's like, okay, is this enough? And she comes out and she's got like a machine gun. She's
big
got
rifle.
Which I believe all this stuff she got from Will's like truck, because that's when they escaped. They took his stuff.
Yeah, sure.
That's why they've got this fancy taser thing. They're not quite sure what it is. And Jessica's like, all right, tase me. Let's see how good it is. Because if it takes me down, it might do something against her. So tase me.
Reasonable logic.
So that's an amusing enough scene. And they go to the wig shop, and the owner of the wig shop's bit of an old crow and kind of awful to them. And sort of thing.
Because Trish destroyed some wigs because she didn't give a shit.
Yes, because she was reckless as a child and whatnot. But so they track down. They end up getting to this this nurse character who at first they think is going to be the evil lady. It's not. It's this nurse who worked at the clinic and was attacked by our evil character,
Who was a patient.
which makes Jessica like, oh, that's my anger issues. I'm just like her. She's questioning all these things.
Not gonna lie, I laughed when that was pointed out to her. It's like, stop it! It's not you.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, okay, we get it.
Well, that's where it's maybe like it's being too blunt with its point. It's like we can get it from just the context and her reaction to it. We don't need it to be spelled out to us. But hey, meanwhile, of course, Cheng's got someone breaking into like Jessica's apartment and stealing all of her case files and stuff. At which point, evil lady shows up and kills the guy in the back of a van. And it's very clear that, okay, everyone's going to think this was Jessica, because this is clearly super strength that's doing this. And that's how we end the episode. We end the episode with her being arrested for this crime. And of course, again, a little bit on the nose, but she's like sort of looking over at the crime scene saying, that's not me. And she repeats it like 5 times, that's not me.
Once was enough, I think.
Yeah. I think twice was okay. I think twice is because the first time it's just, that's not me did the crime. And then the second time is, this is her telling herself, this isn't me. Like, I can't be this.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll accept twice, but she says it like 5 times.
Yeah, it's way too much.
It's way too much. And of course, Trish actually takes some of Will's inhaler juice.
Yep.
the steroid juice, basically. And because she's getting scared about tackling the criminal, and she takes that, and she's still hopped up on it. So when the police try and take Jessica, she runs in to try and grab them, and grabs one of the cops, and she gets arrested as well. So Malcolm's looking after the nurse. Malcolm's like still free, so he's looking after the nurse at the end of the episode, and that's the status quo we've left on.
Yeah.
Come the end.
I mean, I do feel like it should be easy enough to give her an alibi, right? She was out and about. She had a phone on her.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know if they're even going to bring up, hey, look at my GPS on my phone and see where I was. I don't know if the show's going to be smart enough to bring that up.
It's a pretty easy out, isn't it? It's like, hey, I was over there while this happened.
If anything, you might want to criticise it if they don't do that. Admittedly, they could also argue, of course, that, oh, you gave the phone to someone else.
They could, and if they bring that up and they argue that, I'll accept it as at least a reasonable argument.
Because I think the problem with Trish saying she was with me is that, well, you also just get arrested for attacking the arresting officer, so
yeah, doesn't help.
Your word ain't so hot right now in terms of credibility, which is interesting. That may have some fallout in terms of her public image that she's been arrested again. Because obviously we did get the wrap up to the paparazzi stuff, which, to their credit, they went down the path that we're hoping they would, where Griffin just understands that this was Jessica, doing her bullshit, and even like brings, it's like, hey, Jessica's, and she's like, I talked to her, Griffin, I talked to her. It's fine. She's not going to do it again. And she does make a
She
promise.
definitely is.
Oh, she. I don't know if she is, because she does actually make her properly promise. Like, it's not just a half-arsed promise. It's
No,
like
but I mean, her promise. She does say, "Yeah, no, I promise not to do it again, unless your life's in danger."
and then she turns around and she makes it clear, no, you will not do this again. And Jessica says, okay, fine, I won't do it again. So I believe her at this point. I believe her.
Nah, it's happening again.
No.
When her life's in danger, she's doing it.
Yeah, but this is such a specific set of circumstances that she would have to get to actually, even this, for this to be useful again.
I don't mean this exact stunt. I just mean the idea of controlling her public image.
Okay, but that's the thing though. That's not what I'm arguing though. I'm arguing the exact same thing, because that's what she promises. Because if this comes up, she'll just say it's not the same thing. That's not what I promised.
I mean, sure. I got the impression that she was, promised not to mess with her image rather than
No, but
specifically this one thing.
No, she is, but that's her get out clause though. If something else comes up where she's kind of infringing the same thing, that's her get out clause.
I mean, sure.
Look, don't you give me this half-hearted agreement here. You know you do the exact same thing. If you were in Jessica's shoes, that would be your get out clause, because you're a pernickety
If I
prick
can
when
get
it
out
comes
on
to
a
these things.
technicality, I always will.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
get me
So
wrong.
shut up. You know I'm right.
Maybe.
So he's not mad at Malcolm, and he's not like anything like that. I mean, that could still happen where he sees her with Malcolm again. He's like, hey, wait a minute, you're hanging out with that guy that was in that paparazzi photo. Of course, what I'm more concerned of is him getting mysterious phone calls. Like, oh, I can't speak. She's right here.
Not good. Not good.
Right after a scene of like, oh, you I have such bad taste in men, except from you, and I'm like, okay, again, you're hammering the point a little bit. Like, we've already had the scene where Jessica said she looked into him and he has nothing bad in his past. We've already nailed that he's kind of perfect.
It feels like they're worried that we won't remember from one episode ago.
That's the problem. I think the show is being too heavy-handed with a lot of the things that it's doing. It's not letting us it's not trusting us to just get the point. And that's...
Which I think is part of the reason why the episodes feel too long, is because it's repeating things.
Yeah, it's repeating the points, so that we'll make sure we know what's going on. But I just like, we get it. If anything, it's overplaying its hand, because it makes it really obvious where some things are going to go, because it is overplaying the point that it wants to subvert later on, or it wants to shock the characters with later on. So that is a legitimate issue. It's worth mentioning though, because the evil lady is bald, because that's how they connected. Oh, maybe she had cancer and then she got healed, kind of like Jessica. How Jessica was dead and then came back with the experiments. But it does mean that every time, because at first I had to really look for her face when she was attacking the guy at the end, because it is her, because she had a completely different wig on.
Yeah.
Last time.
It makes it difficult, doesn't it?
Because let's be honest, hair is actually one of the first things you use to recognise someone when it's not someone you know. I mean, it's different with, like, say, Connor could wear any wig, and I would notice him because I see his face so often. But when it's someone you've only seen once or twice, it's like, the hair is one of the first things you go to recognise them.
Yeah, definitely. It's because it's especially when it's longer hair. Like if someone's got short hair, it's probably not as distinctive.
Yeah.
But longer hair, it covers a large portion of their face at that point, or around their face at least. So it's quite a defining characteristic, the style and color at least.
Yeah, but it was her. I was looking close and I could see it was her face, but it took me a second. I made a point of looking for her face though, because I knew I couldn't just trust my because then when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's different hair. But then again, she's been wearing wigs, so I looked at her and like, okay, it's her. Just making sure.
and we knew she had multiple wigs from the wig shop.
Yeah. Apparently she's a regular customer. She comes in and restocks regular. And actually, I thought that was a funny line. Actually, the wig shop owner said that most of her business is either cancer patients or drag queens, and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. That'll
doesn't it?
That'll be the majority. You'll get the odd like theatre production, like maybe like a school play or something that wants a wig, so they'll go and buy a wig, but.
Yeah, but like she says, they're high-end wigs, so I presume they're more expensive.
Well, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying school play. Like, obviously, the actual theatres will have their own expensive wigs that they'll get from specialised places, right? Whereas
is she not a specialised place? I thought that was the point. They're like she makes the high-end wigs that have actual hair. It feels like they're a bit much for a school.
Well, not all of them though, because she says that the one they hand in is cheap.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I mean, when she makes Trish pay for them and she's like extorting her money, she's like, no, that would only cover the cheap silicone ones.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So I think she does both. I mean, I assume when I say specialised for a theatre production, I assume they have like a bigger organisation that specialises in stuff for productions.
Quite possibly, unless they want to support local industry.
Nah. Well, why would you say that line though if she was still doing wigs for big productions?
I don't know. Just putting it out there.
This makes sense to me. The local wig shop is probably just the odd thing, other than cancer patients and drag queens.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And maybe costumes, maybe Halloween, she gets a bit more of an uptake because there's people wanting to do a specific.
No, that makes sense.
I didn't spend so much time talking about wigs, but
no, it always on that topic, it always baffles me that there's costume shops that are open all year round.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to imagine that it is maybe like lower budget, like plays and like maybe like short movies that students are making that use them for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I know, like, bachelor parties and stuff like that, bachelorette parties. They kind of go in and get costumes, but you got to, Halloween is clearly their biggest time of year, and it just baffles me that they make enough to stay open year round.
I would love to know the percentage of their yearly income. Like, they must make so much in October and September, maybe in the build up to Halloween that.
Oh, I bet you like 3 days before Halloween, that kind of that there, or the weekend before Halloween, depending on when it falls.
Well, I'm thinking of the whole season because obviously a lot of people leave it till the last minute, but some people will start preparing maybe a month in advance.
Yeah, no, some will, but I guarantee you, like that weekend before.
No, but I'm just saying for
everyone in.
No, but I'm saying for the entire year, the amount they make in the Halloween season from when people start buying Halloween costumes, I would wonder what percentage of their overall intake for the entire year is made in that month.
I know. I would love to know.
And how much that actually supports the rest of the year when they're not making as much.
I would imagine a reasonable amount.
Yeah, I would imagine so too. That's it. I've also seen all year long Christmas stores open.
What?
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
How?
I don't know because
who is buying Christmas stuff in July?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what it is, because it's typically been in places that's maybe quite touristy. I think what it is people while they're there during the summer will buy something so they can use it at Christmas because obviously they won't be there come Christmas.
Sure.
I think that's where they make a lot of it because it'll be in a touristy city.
My mind has been blown.
But I saw this because I didn't know this was a thing either, and I walked past one of these places and I'm like, hey. It's April. Why is there a Christmas store open with like Santa ornaments in the front window? And I think that's why. I think it's because they sell it to tourists all year round because they want something for Christmas.
I'll take it. That's just wow.
And then obviously they'll make a lot of money at Christmas because everyone's buying stuff. But
I should hope so.
But I've seen this. I have seen this in the flesh. So. But are we done talking about Jessica? I think we are.
I think so, yeah.
We'll talk about various other things. As far as the episode overall goes, like again, the main case stuff I was mostly fairly into. Again, so a couple of the moments were a little bit on the nose.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I feel like I had more of the side plots overall than this. I don't know, because I got some Chang, I got some Hogarth, I got Oscar. I feel like Griffin, got a bit of everything. I'm like,
honestly,
okay.
The best stuff. I may have mentioned this, but when they go to see the director again, Max, and Jessica finds out about the video, and she's like, you feel that thing where Jessica's finding out about this for the first time, and Trish is really awkward, and Jessica gives her that glance, like, why didn't you tell me this? I'm gonna go beat the shit out of this guy. That very protective thing, and her debating with her not to like beat him up, and then at the scene actually talking to him, and Jessica getting angry and kind of overstepping a little bit. That was probably the best part of the episode, just from a character perspective, because it was her, her anger issues coming into play, but it made sense because it's about someone she cares about, and the whole thing was kind of working. So that was probably the best part of the episode, but there was maybe a more of an uptick in the side plot time.
No, definitely. And I will just say, just on a personal thing for me, I missed about a minute of the episode around, when they're creeping around looking for the nurse in that building. And whatever happened, Netflix refused to play this minute or so. I tried it, a couple of times. I tried it on different devices.
That's weird.
It would freeze exactly the same point, no matter what, and I had to skip like a minute ahead to get around it.
It must have been a glitch connected to your account then.
It must have been, yeah.
It'll probably be gone now, but whatever the reason being at the time, it just wouldn't.
Yeah. But I was like, it was really irritating. So I hope it wasn't. It didn't seem too important. They were just, creeping around in the building.
There was nothing. I mean, mine played fine. So
it was as it started freezing. As they were looking at some paper, they picked up some files.
Okay, yeah.
I missed about a minute there.
No,
so unless there was something super important in those files that I missed.
Maybe you missed Trish and Haley or something. I don't know, but
no, I saw that.
Okay, well, I think you did then.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But But I think that says something though. That I think there's several scenes where you could miss an entire minute of a scene and not feel like you really missed anything important. Like I feel like that's the biggest problem with the show and me going back to the scenes being too long is that there's a lot of times like that where you could miss stuff and not feel like you've actually missed anything.
Yeah.
But hey, but hey, we'll see how episode 5 goes. So let us know what you thought of episode 4 in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You get a link to that in the description. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?